make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams into modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it. I'm saving every day to taste it.
And now, Mike's thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, it never ceases to amaze me that when you post something like this, picture on Facebook, and then it's a screenshot of somebody on Twitter saying, hey, thank you, refs, thank you, Pittsburgh Steelers, for letting the Kansas City Chiefs win this game. Because the Chiefs clearly let the Kansas City Chiefs win this game. Now, when you look at this picture, guys, if you're watching this on Facebook.com/manhour or at YouTube.com/manhour, you see Patrick Mahomes and the line of scrimmage. The blue line on your screen is the line of scrimmage. Patrick Mahomes' right foot and right arm are clearly past the line of scrimmage. This is the little dump pass that he completed for a first down. I believe it was 4th and 1, maybe third and 1. Either way, he completed the down and got a first down. Now, the refs clearly made the correct call. The refs clearly were out here, helping the Kansas City Chiefs play the game correctly. The refs were clearly out here pushing Mahomes back behind the line of scrimmage and complete that pass. And for the record, I do know the rules. If you guys do not know the rules here, the rule clearly states that every part of your body has to be past the line of scrimmage to be considered a pass downfield. When you guys look at this picture. Patrick Mahomes, right foot across the line of scrimmage. Right hand across the line of scrimmage. The ref looking right down the line and not making the call. Why are the referees helping the Kansas City Chiefs? Why? Why are they doing it? And they're like, oh, let's not worry about that call. Let's worry about the holding call that changed the whole outcome of the game. They're referring to the Pittsburgh Steelers, believe it was right tackle. Had the left end of the Kansas City Chiefs hooked. He turned him. He shoved him to the ground. It's like, oh, that's just a pancake block. Or he was just helping him off. It was a hook and turn. And my man Dakin says that's not the rule. Dakin, then what is the rule? Because clearly you don't know football, my man. You do some research, brother. Every part of Patrick Mahomes' body has to pass the line of scrimmage before it to be considered a legal pass downfield. So if you want to come in here and try to troll and tell me to do some research, do your own research first, bud. Because this is an illegal pass. This is a legal pass. Every part of across the body has to be across the line of scrimmage for it to be counted as an illegal pass. So I don't know what you're trying to prove here, buddy. But cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw. Steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off. Get it hype, this man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman. Everybody bringing heat. You don't really want to try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception?
Let's go. What is up, Man Hour Nation? This is Michael Buckhouse here of the Man Hour Show, to manhourradio.com. Check out the merchandise page, guys. Get yourself some merch. And, of course, check out the Explore tab as well. You can explore yourself. Get a little exploring around there. You can go over to our YouTube page, our Facebook page. Explore us over there on Spotify and, of course, our blogs as well. So manhour.co, guys, manhourradio.com. Both sides lead you to the correct place here. And Dakin is just, he is saying, hey, as long as 1 foot's behind the line of scrimmage, I'm pretty sure that's what I said, man. I'm 100% positive that is exactly what I said. His whole body has to be past the line of scrimmage for it to become an illegal pass. But hey, you do you, man. If you want me to do some research, you need to know the rules first, because I definitely know the rules inside and out. But hey, it is what it is. But guys, we do got a great for you show lined up for you today. We are going to travel across the NFL landscape. We're going to talk about playoff teams that are in the playoffs or continue to be in the playoffs, such as the Packers, such as the Vikings. Who else we got here? We got the Bills, we got the Ravens, Steelers, Dolphins, Bengals, Colts. We got about 12 teams, guys, that we are going to consider if they're contenders or pretenders in the NFL playoffs. And we're going to start off right off top with the Green Bay Packers. Then we're going to jump into the Minnesota Vikings, the most overrated team in the NFL, the Minnesota Vikings, and continue our way down. We got about 10 AFC teams, and I got 3 or 4 NFC teams that I had time to research, right? So we will continue our contenders and pretenders on to Saturday show. But guys, we are live every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. East Coast right here on YouTube.com and, of course, Facebook.com as well. Before we get too carried away, we got to welcome some people in the chat. We got to welcome Laura Johnson. Hedrick in the chat says the PS, the Vikings are that good. And I want to say, slow it down, baby. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. How are the Vikings that good, Laura? I'm asking for a friend at this particular point. How are the Vikings that good? They haven't played anybody. They played, 4 playoff teams? But hey, not to get too ahead of myself. Just slow it down, baby. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. We got Joe Formack in the chat says they're great. Who's great? The Vikings? Come on, man. Come on. Got my man Casey Morgan in the chat says the number 1 seed is locked up. Chiefs Kingdom. Right there's a championship hat, baby. Let's represent Chiefs Kingdom tonight. So Casey, what's up? Then we got my man Jim Powell. It says it's hard to listen to a Chiefs homer act like they finally have a false call or a non-call. Let's go back to the body work. This shit. Clearly called penalties are not on the plate here. Hey, Jim, just because your team isn't good, don't be coming out here and hating on mine, right? Don't come out here and hating on mine. Alan Toth is in the chat, says Vikings fan here. I'm just listening. Well, Alan, this is a live interactive show. I see everything and interact with most of the things that I see. And we will be talking about your Minnesota Vikings in the contenders or pretenders list number 2 here. We're going to start off the top with the Green Bay Packers, the best team in the NFC playoffs. So start off with them. And then Dakin says, just speak more clearly and you'll be understood. I was speaking very, very clearly, Dakin. You just come in and say you just want to run your mouth. But hey, you do you, man. You do you. You run your mouth, I'll run my mouth, and we'll see who wins at the end of the day. Matt is in the chat. What's up, Matt? He says, Vikings are not overrated. Stop hating on that 13-2 team. Steelers are truly overrated. Okay, we are going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. I believe they're coming up in about 6 teams here, so we will get there, and just thoughts about that. And Casey Morgan says Vikings are a very systematic team, and Sam Darnold is navigating it perfectly, but won't last too long, in my opinion. Slow it down, Casey. Slow it down, baby. The Vikings fans don't want to hear the truth, my man. Vikings fans do not want to hear the truth. And then Jim Fleming's in the chat today as well. What's up, Jim? He says this needs to shut the hell up. He don't know his brains from his beard. It sounds like to me, Jim, you are a little jealous of my beard. I have worked months on this beautiful, fine, manicured beard, and you are just a tad bit jealous of the beard because the beard is weird, Jim. And I just, you know what? Haters gonna hate. Just because you cannot grow this luscious beard like mine, do not hate on my beard. I'm just saying. But I got brains, Jim. I got brains. And that is why we're going to start with the best team in the NFL, the best team in the NFC playoffs team, and that is the Green Bay Packers. Guys, when we look at this contenders or pretenders list, as of right now, these teams that I have right here, are they going to win a wild card game? That is what's going to make them a contender or pretender. Can they go in there and can they win a wild card game? So when we look at the Green Bay Packers, guys, they have their playoffs locked up. they have their playoffs locked up. They can get as high as a 6 seed, but they also could end up as a 7 seed, but more than likely they're going to end up as a 6 seed. They're going to end up playing the Seahawks or the LA Rams, which is currently the LA Rams as of right now. When you look at the Green Bay Packers versus playoff teams so far this season, they are 2-4 on this NFL season. When you look at the Green Bay Packers offensively, right? They are 4th overall on offense, averaging 377.7 yards per game. They're 12th in passing, averaging 230.4 yards per game. 4th in rushing with 147.3 yards per game. 7th in scoring at 27.5 points per game. And they're 11th in red zone scoring, and they score at a rate of 59.7% touchdowns when they're in the red zone. So clearly, guys, the Green Bay Packers have one of the most balanced, one of the most complete offenses in the NFL. When you look at their overall offense, when they're passing offense, and they're rushing, and their red zone scoring, they are a well-balanced, oiled machine. And this is the time of year that Jordan Love starts to click on all cylinders. This is the time of the year when Jordan Love starts to say, hold my beer, look at me go, look at me cook, right? And not only is the offense top 5 or top 10 in damn near every stat category, you got to look at the defensive side of things as well. On the defense, they got the 6th overall defense, only giving up 312.1 yards per game. They're 9th in passing, giving up 209.7 yards per game. 8th in rushing at 102.5 yards per game. They're 6th in scoring, only giving up 19.1. But the only flaw of the Green Bay Packers from top to bottom that I'm going to name right here is a red zone defense. The red zone defense is ranked 20th in the NFL, giving up the opponents 60% of the time when they're in the red zone, they score a touchdown. So when we look at the Green Bay Packers, guys, are they contenders or are they pretenders going into this NFL or into the NFC playoff race? Can they win a wild card game? That is what is going to determine them being a contender or pretender. The Green Bay Packers, guys, have won 5 of their last 6. They have beaten the Bears 20-16. They've beaten the 49ers 38-10. They've beaten the Dolphins 30-17. They lost to the Detroit Lions at Detroit 34-31. Then they beat the Seahawks at Seahawks 30-13. And then they pitched the only shutout of the season versus the Saints last Monday night 34-0. Guys, the Green Bay Packers are contenders. It's simple as that. The Green Bay Packers are contenders. Not only are they going to win a wild card game versus the Seahawks or the Rams, more than likely going to be the Rams, but either or, right? They're going to beat both of those teams. The Packers have already beaten the Seahawks 30-13 just 2 weeks ago. They can beat the Rams, right? It is what it is. They're going to win their first round game. It doesn't matter. Hell, even if they drop down to a 7 seed and they got to play a team like the Philadelphia Eagles in the first round or the Detroit Lions, the simple fact of the matter is that they are going to beat those teams. It's simple as that. The Green Bay Packers are contenders. They're not only contenders, they are contenders in the divisional round. They're contenders in the championship round. Hell, they're even contenders in the Super Bowl round. Guys, the Green Bay Packers are the real deal. They have the most complete team from top to bottom. Offense, defense, special teams. Oh, by the way, they're damn near 100% healthy. Unlike other teams in the NFL, they are damn near 100% healthy. So, guys, I think that the Green Bay Packers are contenders. I think they are contenders. So in the comments below, guys, do you guys think the Green Bay Packers are contenders or pretenders in the NFC playoffs? Can they win their opening round, their wild card game versus probably the Seahawks or the Rams? Let's see what they got to say. Jim says, my hemorrhoids are flaring. Bigger news of the Chiefs' bad call against them. Zach is in the chat. He says the Packers do take this one. So Zach is saying the Green Bay Packers are contenders. I'm just saying. Aaron says, don't worry, he talks out of his ass in the first place. Okay, Aaron. I'm glad you're here, though, buddy. You know what? You are here, making me famous. Haters make you famous there, Aaron. Thank you for joining us here. Josh Olsen, Mr. Top Fan himself, says they're definitely contenders, and I think they will beat the Vikings on Sunday, 27-24. And Josh, I think you are exactly right. I think you are 100% correct. Yes, the Green Bay Packers are not that much battle tested, right? They are 2-4 versus playoff teams, but they're about to be 3-4, if not 4-4 versus playoff teams moving forward. I'm just call a spade a spade. The Packers are the real deal, but Jim says, whoa, slow it down, baby. Jim says the Packers will choke this Sunday. Vikings will defeat the Packers 27-21. And you know what, Jim? As I could honestly see the game going either way. The Packers legitimately have nothing to play for. Their playoff seed is locked up. I highly doubt they're going to drop down to the 7th seed because that means the Commanders have to win out for them to jump each other. And then even then, I still think the Packers somehow hold the tiebreaker. I have to look that up. But the Packers legit have nothing to play for. The Vikings have everything to play for on Sunday. Number 1 overall seed, respect, and this, right? So I'm not for sure how the Packers can choke because they have nothing to play for. If they win, yeah, they win. If they lose, yeah, it's just another loss. Whatever, it is what it is. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. The Vikings, they lose. It affects their whole season. It affects their whole fan base. It affects the whole narrative that this fan base is trying to manufacture the last 8 weeks, right? They can't choke. I just don't think it is. Darkland says the Vikings can beat anyone and lose to anyone. We'll be talking about the Vikings very, very short here, right? And Ash Fishin says, look at Sam Darnold's stats. I don't need to look at his stats. Right now, I'm looking at the Green Bay Packers stats. Casey Morgan says, wildcard teams are not that good. This season has been such a lopsided season on teams you got. Good teams and really, really bad teams. They hardly bake many teams. So, Casey, is that way of you saying that every wildcard team, so 14 teams, or would be what, 12 teams in the NFL playoffs are all bad teams? And the only good teams are the Lions and the Chiefs? Interesting. And Darkland says, Love is overrated, by the way. How is Love overrated? Jordan Love, his default rookie season last year, yes, I know he was 3 or 4 years in the league, but his first year starting last season, he led a Green Bay Packers team that's comparable to the Minnesota Vikings team this season. Nobody had any stock in them whatsoever. All of a sudden, they win, 4 or 5 games in a row to end the season, come storming into the playoffs. Aaron Jones is rushing out of his mind. They go into Dallas, upset a Dallas Cowboys team that has not lost a home game at that particular point, like 14, 15 straight games, something crazy. And then they go toe-to-toe with the 49ers. How is Love overrated? What has Jordan Love, what kind of pedestal are you putting up on Jordan Love to say that he's overrated? Guys, Jordan Love is not overrated. No way, no how is Jordan Love overrated. I just don't see it. I don't understand it. So bring me a little bit of facts. Bring me a little bit of thoughts on it, because I do not think that Jordan Love is overrated at all. And Zach says, oh, hell no, don't ever put your faith in Sam. We'll be talking about the Vikings very, very soon here. Jim Powell says, Jordan Jacobs will smoke the Vikings. Contenders for sure. I agree with you, Jim. The Green Bay Packers are contenders, 100%. 100%. The Soy Sassin says, clearly pretenders. Sam Darnold will humiliate them on Sunday. And this is what a lot of the Vikings fans and Packers fans in general is, that this game on Sunday, Minnesota Vikings taking on the Green Bay Packers, I believe is at Lambeau Field, if I'm not mistaken. This game means nothing at all to the Green Bay Packers. These next 2 games of the NFL season mean nothing to the Green Bay Packers. They already had the playoffs locked up. They can't go higher than the 6th seed. The only thing below them is the 7th seed. I highly doubt they're going to drop down to the 7th seed. They pretty much got the 6th seed locked up. They're going to give you vanilla defense and vanilla offense the rest of the way. Let's just be honest. And many of those Green Bay Packers haters are going to be like, oh, you see, they can't even beat the Minnesota Vikings. You see, they can't even do this. They can't even do that. It doesn't matter, because they're going to go into the playoffs. They're going to be 100% healthy. They're going to be clicking on all cylinders. They're peaking at the right time. They're primed to make a deep Super Bowl Super Bowl run. So it doesn't matter if Sam Darnold plays out of his mind on Sunday. It doesn't matter if Sam Darnold plays out of his mind week 18. It doesn't matter. It matters that the Green Bay Packers are going to be the 6th seed. They're going to beat the Rams in the first round, and then they're going to turn around and they're going to beat the number 1 seed, more than likely the Detroit Lions, in the divisional round. That is just what is going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Chill guy, UT says, what do you say about Michael Penix Jr. way better than Kurt? I think Michael Penix Jr. is a better fit for the Atlanta Falcons. Yes. Thick Love says week 16 and 17. I think it means 17 and 18 will tell a whole lot about the Green Bay Packers. No, it will not. Thick Love. Week 17 and week 18 means nothing for the Green Bay Packers. Do I need to repeat that again? It means nothing to the Green Bay Packers week 17 and week 18. The wild card weekend is when the Green Bay Packers will come to play. Wild card weekend is the weekend where the Green Bay Packers come up and say, hey, hold my beer, little boys. And that's just what it is. Matt Henry's in the chat. What's up, Matt? Good evening to you as well, sir, and happy holidays. Happy New Year, guys. What, New Year's is what, about 4 days away, 5 days away, whatever it is. Hope you guys are having a grand old holiday season here. So, Matt, be safe out there, buddy. Casey says, Steelers show us on Christmas that they're one and done. We'll be talking about the Steelers. Slow it down, baby. Slow it down. And Darkland says the Green Bay Packers are pretenders. They are pretenders. So Darkland is saying that wild card game, divisional round, it doesn't matter because they won't even make it to the playoffs. Well, they're not going to make it to the playoffs, but Rams are going to whoop that ass opening weekend. And God says, I do not like this guy. I don't give a shit if you like me or not. There, God did. The simple fact of the matter is I'm speaking facts here. The facts are the Green Bay Packers are contenders. They are contenders. And that's what's practical about YouTube and Facebook and whatever, man. You can click away. You can click away and go watch some other low production podcasts out there on Facebook. I give you the best quality, the best content, and we're live 6 days a week here, buddy. So it is what it is. Jim Powell says Brett Favre will send some food stamps to make sure Mark Gastineau are in the seats. Too soon, Jim. Too soon. Matt Ginley says they can definitely beat Seattle, but the Rams can run with them. And I agree with you, Matt. I think a better matchup would be the LA Rams take on the Green Bay Packers. However, I think the Packers are better at every aspect of the game right now versus the Rams. Better at quarterback play, better at running back, better at receiver, better at line, better at defense, better at special teams, better at coaching, right? I think they're just better coached. Two Old Wrestler Station says the Packers are chicken tenders. Listen, I think you're trying to be like they're bad, but listen, man, chicken tenders are freaking good. You put some dino nuggets in front of me and a little bit of ketchup, bada bing, bada boom, man, I am one happy man. And if the Green Bay Packers are chicken tenders, a.k.a. dino nuggets, ooh, they some happy boys. They some happy boys. Matt Henry says, with the number 1 pick in the 2025 draft, the New York selects draft Will Howard. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. Jim says the Packers can't beat the Lions, Eagles, and Vikings. You see, Jim, they won't have to beat those guys in the first round to be considered a contender. They will only have to beat the Rams in the first round. And once you get that first playoff win under your belt, anything can happen. You can legit be the worst team in the playoffs, but you get that first win. You get the first win, bada bing, bada boom. It is a clean slate. It is 0-0. It is a new season. And if the Packers get the momentum going in that first wild card game, and then they go into Detroit or Minnesota in that next round, whoever it might be, it's a new ball game. They're going to whoop that ass. Yes, they may have been swept by the Vikings this season and the Lions, to be determined, right? But beating a team in a season is hard 3 times. That is the hardest thing to do in NFL sports, is to beat a team 3 times. Hell, it's the hardest thing to do in high school sports, in college sports. Beat a team 3 times. It's tough. It is tough. But Jim says they are pretenders. Green Bay Packers are pretenders. Okay, slow it down, baby. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And God says, hey, I hate this guy, but then he's in here commenting again. He says the Vikings beat the Packers the first time we played them. They did. And they'll probably beat them again on Sunday. Okay, it doesn't matter. Playoffs are a different animal. Sam Darnold has never been to the playoffs as a starting quarterback. Has Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison ever been in the playoffs? I can't remember. I don't think so. Playoffs are a different animal. And Sale, the Viking, says, what is this? Shh, we are contenders. Well, we're talking about the Packers right now, so slow it down. Slow it down, baby. Ash said, keep talking your beard off, Swifty. Funny thing is, my last name is Swift. So, that's weird. Jordan Love is a 6 in QBR. How on earth could someone say he is overrated? John B., you are absolutely correct. 230 yards passing per game, 6th in QBR. I believe the last 6 games he only has 2 interceptions. Yes, he had a little streak of some interception issues there. Like week 3 to about week 7, week 8, when he was dealing with those was a knee and a hamstring and an ankle injury. But yeah, ever since the bye week, right, he has come back and he's been definitely not overrated. So John, you are absolutely correct. John B., thank you for clearing that up. Jim says you are wrong. Pack at Minnesota, ding dong. Oh, I'm pretty sure that's what I said there, ding dong, but okay. And Josh says the Packers want to win this game. Why do the Packers want to win this game, Josh? Obviously beating a divisional opponent is great. Knocking the Minnesota Vikings off of their pedestal is great. But if it's a blowout, cool. It is what it is. If it's a close game and my quarterback might have this nagging ankle that just not quite right, or my running back has this hamstring that's just a little bit tight, they're going to set the bench in the fourth quarter. Because I'm more worried about the long-term goal. I don't care about beating a divisional opponent in week 17. I don't care about winning, getting second place in the division. I think they can still get the second place division. I'm not for sure. I don't care about all that. I care about long-term goals, and that's long-term success, and that's winning in the playoffs. I don't think the Packers could care less about this game. I'm just being flat honest. I don't think the Packers care about this game. And Josh says Love is underrated, if anything. You are correct. Jordan is peaking Brady level. Chill, guy, UT. Slow it down, baby. Many people try to compare quarterbacks to other quarterbacks, right? Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady, right? Just their skill sets, their types of plays are just not quite the same, right? Jordan Love, I feel, is kind of just a laid back, whatever happens type of guy. Tom Brady was a rah-rah guy, right? I just don't see Jordan Love being that type of guy. Now, Jordan Love could potentially win 2 Super Bowls. Yes. If you're saying that, yeah, he could get on a run, and the Green Bay Packers could win a lot of Super Bowls. They are the youngest team in the NFL. They could win a lot of games, but slow it down. Let's not compare anybody to Tom Brady. Tom Brady is one of the greatest of all time. Not as great as Mr. Peyton Manning there, but he is one of the greatest of all times. Robert Garcia says the Packers are contenders. So are the Vikings, Rams, Lions, Washington, and every other playoff team. No, they're not. Not every playoff team can win, Robert. Now, this contender or pretender is, can they win their opening round game? That is the caveat on this Green Bay Packers team. Can they win their opening game? And I say that yes, they can, and that means they are a contender. Steven says, how are you not a good team with 13 wins? Come on, man. I don't know. Stay tuned and find out. Alpha Rob, my man, says Packers can make the NFC Championship game, and chicken tenders are good, especially with the spicy ones. Thank you, Alpha Rob. Now somebody's making some sense out here. Chicken tenders is not a derogatory term. We love some chicken tenders, especially the spicy ones with a little bit of ketchup. Might get crazy, put some barbecue sauce on there, but damn. Alpha Rob, my man. Matt says the Rams are better receivers. Come on, Puka and Kupp are way more proven than the Green Bay receivers. And Puka is a really good receiver. However, Matt, have you ever watched Puka, like, just sit there and don't watch the Rams play, but just watch Puka play, right? Just single yourself on Puka. He is always putting himself in harm's way. He is always putting himself, like, I don't understand how he's not hurt every play, to be honest. And he dropped some big passes. Yes, Cooper Kupp is the real deal. Cooper Kupp is probably a Hall of Famer, right? So, like, I get it, but I would take the Green Bay Packers receiver core over the Rams receiver core right now. Even though the Green Bay Packers drop all types of balls, make amazing catches, and then drop some, they're so up and down. But I would take the Packers receivers over the Rams receivers right now. Jalen says, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year? That's the Kansas City Chiefs. I have to change my pick. Change my pick in the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, so out of 9 meetings, the Vikings are up 5 wins to 4 losses. So we shut up now. If you lose, I'd like you to leave this to someone not to bypass. Don't even know what you're trying to say there, Jim. Total Risk Restoration said the Packers can still get the 5th seed. Yes, they can, right? They have to beat the Vikings and then win and then win week 18 as well. But do we legitimately see them beating the Lions and the not the Lions, I'm sorry. The Vikings and the why am I drawing a blank of who they play week 18? Let me look it up. Because the Lions and Vikings play week 18. They don't play the Bears, do they? It's got to be the Bears, isn't it? Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in theory they could. They got to beat the Vikings, got to beat the Bears. But I thought in some tiebreaker, it was like strength of victory tiebreaker. I thought the Vikings took a charge there. But total restoration, my fault on your name. You are correct. Looking at the record, they could get the 5th seed. You are correct. I stand corrected. Casey says everyone forgets that most teams play very different in the playoffs, especially the ones that get there often. It makes regular season wins and losses not mean as much. True. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Ass Fishing says, take some money since you're going to be all negative and after your bets. I'm not being negative. I don't think I've been negative at all, Ass Fishing, but thanks for the super chat, man. But I don't think I've been negative. Have I? I don't know. Josh Olsen says Kristen Watson and Jalen Reed are really, really good. They are really good. They also have really big really big drops, right? So it's kind of a catch-22 at this point. Andrew's Paradise is back in the chat today. What's up, Andrew? He says that they do play the Bears week 18, and the Vikings need to lose to the Lions. So, okay. So there is a path for them to get the 5th seed. I thought they were totally locked into the 6th seed. That was my mistake. That was my mistake. I will stand corrected on that one. Thank you guys for correcting me on that one. And King Henry says the Vikings are frauds. That's a perfect transition into our next topic. Contenders or pretenders here on this Friday edition of manhourradio.com, 9 p.m. East Coast time. We are live every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. on YouTube and, of course, Facebook.com. Now, the Minnesota Vikings, guys, are they contenders or pretenders in this year's NFC playoffs? Can they win a NFC playoff game? That is a caveat of this week's contenders or pretenders. Can they win the wild card game? Now, the Vikings, guys, do have the playoffs locked up. They are battling for the number 1 overall seed with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. If they win out, they do get the number 1 overall seed. They can be a 1st seed, 5th seed, or 6th seed if they do lose out. So as of right now, they are slated to be the 5th seed, and they will be playing the winner of the NFC South, and that is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Atlanta Falcons. Now, when we look at the Minnesota Vikings schedule so far this season, versus playoff team, guys, they are 3-2 versus playoff teams. They have win over the Texans, Packers, and Falcons. If the Falcons make the playoffs, which I do not think they will, but if they do, They do have that win, give them that third quality win, and then they do have losses over the Lions and to the Rams. The Lions was a 2-point loss, and the Rams was just a loss that they should have probably won. That was back when they were losing back-to-back games. Like I said, they were going to. Now, when we look at the Minnesota Vikings, guys, their offense right now, they're ranked 12th overall, 346.3 yards per game. They're 8th in passing with 235.3 yards passing. Sandarno's putting up some good numbers, right? 16th in rushing, 111.1 yards per rushing. Man, that's a lot of ones. And then they're 9th in scoring with 26.4, and they're 9th in red zone scoring at a touchdown rate of 60.4%. All very, very decent, all very, very good, all very, very top-notch offensive numbers. However, this is where the shade or the controversy or my questioning the Minnesota Vikings is their defensive side of the ball. They do have the 16th ranked overall defense, giving up 335.8 yards per game. They are 30th. They are 30th in passing, giving up 248.7 yards per game. Now, they are third in scoring defense with 18.4 and second in rushing defense, only giving up 87.1 yards per game. They are also 14th in red zone defense, letting opponents score at a rate of 54.8%. Now, the Minnesota Vikings, guys, might be one of the biggest Fugazi teams out there. The Minnesota Vikings might be one of the biggest teams out there, right? Yes, I do understand they're 13-2. Yes, I do understand what they've won 8 games in a row. Yes, I do understand they're battling for a number 1 overall seed. But legitimately, who have they played? Legitimately, who have they played? Oh, Buck, they played the 49ers. Okay, the 49ers are complete dog poo-poo. We have seen that. We see that. Oh, Buck, they played the Houston Texans. You mean the Houston Texans that are struggling to tread water right now? Oh, we played them back in week 3 when they were good. They were never good. We talk about Fugazi's teams. The Houston Texans, they are Fugazi. The merch is in the store, guys. manhourradio.com. Oh, we played the Packers. Yes, you did play the Packers. You also gave up, a 28-point lead in that game. Well, you were up 28-7 going into halftime. Damn near lost that game, so slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Oh, Buck, we only lost to the Lions by 2. A Lions team that dominated you after the first quarter. You were up 14-0 on the Detroit Lions, and you let them come roaring back and damn near beat them. Oh, but then we beat the Colts and the Jaguars and the Titans and the Bears and the Cardinals and the Falcons and the Bears and the Seahawks. Those 8 wins, one of those teams have a winning record. One of those teams have a winning record. That's the Seattle Seahawks. Actually, they don't have a winning record. They have a losing record too. What, they're 7-9 right now, aren't they? 7-8, whatever it is. Guys, the Minnesota Vikings are pretenders. There is no question in my mind that no matter if they get the first overall seed, if they get the 6th seed or the 5th seed, they are going to lose their first round matchup, whoever they play. If they play the Bucs, they might get blown out. If they play the Falcons, they might get blown out. Now, let's say they are the number 1 overall seed, and they get an opportunity to play a team who, let's say everything holds face, and they play a 4 seed in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're not beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, period, end of story. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a team you do not want to play in this playoffs. Simple, cut, and dry. Simple as that. Let's say the Packers or the Lions get up there, right? And they beat the Buccaneers in the first round. And then they got to travel to Minnesota to play the Vikings. Minnesota Vikings fans, do you guys legitimately think that you can beat the Green Bay Packers and or the Detroit Lions in the first round? I'm just saying. Do you legitimately think that you can beat that team? The answer to that question is no. The answer to that question is no. And Chill Guy says the Falcons do have a winning record. They do now. At the time, they did not. They did not have a winning record at the time. They were a losing team at the time. Hell, they lost 4 games in a row. I believe they were 6-7 or something like that. They were not very good. But Josh says, whoa, slow it down. They're contenders. I think that they can win 1 playoff game. So, guys, in the comments below, do you guys think that the Minnesota Vikings, are they contenders or pretenders? Can they win their opening playoff game? Whether it's divisional round, whether it's the wild card, it doesn't matter. I don't care if they're the first seed, fifth seed, or sixth seed, or the seventh seed. It doesn't matter to me. Can they win their first playoff game in the NFC playoffs? And I'm saying no. So that makes them pretenders. And Alpha Rob says they are pretenders. I'm not buying Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold can sit on my pipe and smoke it for all I care. I'm not buying Sam Darnold. Alpha Rob, you are correct, and I agree with you. Now, let's speak about the Minnesota Vikings fans about how much they love them some Sam Darnold right now. Let's talk about how much the Minnesota Vikings fans love Sam Darnold. They love them some Sam Darnold. Yes, Sam Darnold is playing great football right now. The Minnesota Vikings are playing great football right now. They are. But let's rewind 6 months ago, 8 months ago. We signed Sam Darnold. That's stupid. Sam Darnold sucks. Why we sign Sam Darnold? And then all of a sudden you're blowing him. Can't have it both ways. You can't be saying, oh, Sam Darnold sucks, and then all of a sudden, oh, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Slow it down. But I'm not buying Sam Darnold either, Alpha Rob. He is putting up great stats. What is it? 235.3 yards passing per game. Those are some great stats. Addison and Hawkinson and JJ, they're putting up good numbers. Hell, Aaron Jones is still got a little legs in him left, right? But they get a little long in the tooth. The ball has been bouncing their way a lot lately. Those 50-50 balls have been more like 70-25 balls, right? Things going to be starting to come back down to reality a little bit. And it starts week 18 when they do play the Detroit Lions. King Henry says the Vikings are frauds. They are frauds. I think they're Fugazi. Chill guy, UT. Now, is that University of Texas or University of Tennessee? Chill guy. Says Michael Penix is going to carry the Falcons to 10-7. Only hard game is the Commanders. I wish I had time to talk about the Commanders or prep to talk about not the Commanders, the Falcons. I'm sorry, because the Falcons are a team that I am confused about. I am so confused about the Falcons. I'll be sure to talk about them on Saturday. So chill guy UT. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And tomorrow at 9 p.m. we'll have the Toxic Table on with Mark and like Coffee, and we'll be talking about the Falcons. Casey says, I personally say the Vikings are a true wild card team. They can win a wild card game. Yes, they are 50-50. And you know what, Casey, you are exactly right. I mean, maybe, just maybe, Casey, I've been a little too hard on the Minnesota Vikings. Maybe I've been so hard on them because their fan base is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Unrealistic. The fan base has just been so unrealistic. Now, I'm not saying that the experts did not say that they were only going to win 6 games, 7 games, 8 games. I think I had them, let me look to make sure. I think I had them at 7-11 this season, right? Let me confirm that. Let me pull up my V2 playoff predictor here. Yeah, so I had them at 6-11. I had them at 6 wins this season. And many of the I had Mike Reeves, right? The Minnesota Vikings insider on here back in June. And he's like, look, it is a complete rebuild. It's a complete rebuild, and it's going to be 4 or 5 win season. Now, he is the first one to be excited, right? Who is not to be excited, right? 13-2 is exciting. Your team having success is exciting. But don't act like the success is not because you're playing. You are playing great football, but you're also playing some bad teams. You beat the Giants, bad team. You beat the Jets, bad team. You beat the Colts, a bad team. Jaguars, Titans, Bears, Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, right? All pretty bad teams. The couple good wins that you do have, the Green Bay Packers, I will give you that win, even though you were up 28-7. Try to give that game away. I will give it to you, right? The Houston Texans, that's a good win. Back they were Nico Collins out that game or not? I cannot remember. But either way, they were still pretty healthy. They were still pretty good, right? I will give you the Bears win. Playing a division rival on the road, it's a good win. 30-27, it doesn't matter. Still a good win. Beating the Seahawks on the road, that's a good win. 27-24. So legitimately, you only have 4 good wins on the season. The rest of them you were supposed to win. They were bad teams. Now, I understand that, hey, we were supposed to be bad too. I get it. It's a double-edged sword. But once you start going 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, expectations start to rise a little bit. I'm just saying. Just saying. Josh Olson says the Commanders will beat the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. We'll talk about tomorrow, Josh. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Chill Guy says, I'm already subscribed because it's fun hearing opinions. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Chill Guy. I try to be unbiased, but sometimes Vikings fans just get underneath my skin. I'm not going to lie. Nacho Gomez, it says, I want the Vikings to play the Rams in the playoffs so the Rams can put them out of their misery. Let's go. Nacho is just an LA guy. Anything LA, Nacho is in. Matt says, yes, absolutely they can beat the Green Bay Packers and the Lions. Stop hating on Darnold. He's one of the top quarterbacks this year. I don't care about years previous. He has more than 10 games with an over 100 QBR. So, Matt, you are correct. Sam Darnold has been playing out of his mind. I believe I saw a stat last week where he has just as many wins with the Vikings in 1 year than his whole 3 or 4 years with the New York Jets, right? 13 wins. QBR is a fake stat. I'm just calling it out. QBR is a fake stat. QBR is just a stat that ESPN made up to try to quantify of a quarterback being good or bad. It is just fake. But still, everybody does have that fake stat, and 10 games with over a QBR of 100. I thought 100 was the perfect score now since they readjusted it, but he has been playing good. However, I know you don't want to care about previous seasons. You don't want to care about the past, right? But sometimes the past sits there in the back of your head. Sometimes the past, like, man, I've been here before, and I don't want to do this again. But then you keep thinking about it, and then you start playing bad. Then you start doing this. Then you start doing that, right? It's just a snowball effect. And the simple fact of the matter is that Sam Darnold has never been in the playoffs. Never been a starting quarterback in the playoffs. Ginas 610 says, how many good teams did the Green Bay Packers beat? Let's look it up. They got the Rams, they got the Texans, and then they got the Bears on the road, right? And then they got the Seahawks. And then you have to give it to the Saints, right? Now, I understand the Saints were playing with their backups, whatever, right? Yada, yada, yada. It's still an NFL team that still pitched a shutout. You have to give that win to them. That is a shutout win. The only shutout of the NFL season. So they have just as many good wins as the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. So I would say they both have 4 to 5 good wins. So even, right? Wasn't Darnold seeing Ghost Guy? No, not wrong. Casey says, Jets are just bad. They're getting old, beat up Rodgers saying there isn't this year, the same year after year. Makes you wonder if they're organization or it's just coaching. To be determined. To be determined. Next year is always the next year, right? So, guys, that is the question. Are the Minnesota Vikings, are they contenders or pretenders? Can they win their opening playoff game? I'm saying no, and that makes them pretenders. Moving on. The Philadelphia Eagles. This team is a head scratcher, right? They do have their playoff seed locked up. If they win on Sunday, they do officially have the second seed locked up. But I don't see the Commanders really making a push for the NFC East crown. But they could drop as low as the 7th seed if the Washington Commanders do win the NFC East. But as of right now, guys, the Philadelphia Eagles have the playoffs locked up as the 2nd seed. They do play the Cowboys and Giants to end the season. Jalen Hurts, however, has been ruled out this week versus the Dallas Cowboys with the concussion. That is tough. The Dallas Cowboys are a hungry team. The Dallas Cowboys want to prove to the world that they're no fluke, right? That they're out there ruining people's lives. The Philadelphia Eagles so far this season, guys, are 5-2 versus playoff teams, including wins over the Ravens and the Green Bay Packers. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, guys, they are one of the most dominant teams on this list, hands down. From top to bottom, offense to defense, to coaching to water boys, the Philadelphia Eagles are them. They have the 6th ranked overall offense with 379 yards per game. However, the passing sucks. Let's call it spade a spade. The passing game sucks. They're ranked 31st, only averaging 183 yards per game. But you can suck when you have the best rushing attack in the NFL at 187.9 yards per game. They do have the 8th ranked scoring offense at 26.8 and the 13th ranked red zone offense scoring touchdowns at a rate of 57.6%. So obviously, guys, the offense is a balanced attack, right? It is a balanced attack. 183 yards passing to 187 yards rushing. They are going to get their yards either way. They are going to score either way, right? Missing Jalen Hurts does suck. Potentially losing to the Dallas Cowboys does suck. Their defense, however, is top-notch. Their defense is by far the best in the NFL. And the stats will not lie here. They do have the 1st ranked overall defense, only giving up 281.7 yards per game. 2nd in passing, only giving up 178.8 yards per game. 9th in rushing, only giving up 102.9 yards per game. 5th in scoring, only giving up 18.9 points per game. And 9th in red zone efficiency, only allowing teams to score at a rate of 51.1% touchdown rate in the red zone. So the question is, guys, can the Philadelphia Eagles win their first round matchup? Actually, no, scratch that. They're contenders or pretenders. Are they Super Bowl bound? Can they make the Super Bowl? Contenders saying yes, they can make the Super Bowl. Yes, they will make the Super Bowl. Or pretenders, no, they're not Super Bowl bound. So the Philadelphia Eagles, their level has increased, right? When you are the 2nd overall seed, when you have the best defense, when you have the best rushing attack in the NFL, in my eyes, it's Super Bowl or bust. Can they contend to make the Super Bowl? That is a question for the Philadelphia Eagles. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they have won 10 games in a row before losing last week to the Washington Commanders. Jalen Hurts did go out in the first quarter with the concussion. They only lost to the Commanders 36-33. Jaden Daniels played out of his mind on Sunday versus the Eagles. And the defense has only given up 20-plus points 5 times in the season. In a victory versus the Packers, lost to the Falcons, lost to the Bucks, a win versus the Jaguars, and then lost versus the Washington Commanders. So, guys, when we look at the Philadelphia Eagles, how are they not Super Bowl contenders? How are they legitimately not Super Bowl contenders? They have the best defense. They have the best offense. The only thing that I question about the Philadelphia Eagles is their coaching. And Nick Sirianni has been to the Super Bowl. He knows how to get a team there. He knows how to rally the troops. So with that being said, guys, this contender or pretender, can they get to the Super Bowl? And I have to waffle around this answer. Because it all depends on Jalen Hurts. Let's just be flat honest. It all depends on Jalen Hurts. Yes, Kenny Pickett was a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers just last season. Yes, Kenny Pickett is a valuable backup. Yes, Kenny Pickett did score 33 points versus the Washington Commanders. But I don't know if Kenny Pickett can beat the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if Kenny Pickett can beat the New York Football Giants come Week 18. If they lose both those games, that drops them down to probably the 7th seed, maybe the 6th seed. Either way, a road playoff game, 5th, 6th, or 7th, it doesn't matter. It's a road playoff game, and more than likely, they're going to end up having to play a team like, I don't know, the Washington Commanders. They might have to play a team like the Seattle Seahawks. They might have to play well, who would be the 4 seed? Would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? If they have to go on the road and play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team that's already humiliated them earlier this season, that could be terrible. A team that eliminated them last season. If the Philadelphia Eagles have to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round and they get beat again, so they lost to the Buccaneers 3 times in 2 seasons, Nick Sirianni might be out. I'm just saying. But if Jalen Hurts is healthy, he's obviously not playing week 17. He's already been ruled out. If he plays week 18, they get that second overall seed. They're playing the Commanders, let's say, in the wild card game. Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles guys are a Super Bowl team. They are contenders. There is no question in my mind. A healthy Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, they are contending for the Super Bowl. With Kenny Pickett, no. Jalen Hurts, yes. So guys, in the comments below, let me know. Are the Philadelphia Eagles, are they contenders or are they pretenders? This is Super Bowl. Not first round, not second round. This is Super Bowl. And they make the Super Bowl. Casey says they are contenders. They will be in the NFC Championship game. That makes them contenders. Yes, sir, it does. Yes, sir, it does. And Casey says, not a Hurts fan. I feel without him or even with him won't change the outcome. So, Casey, you are telling me without or with Jalen Hurts last Sunday, the Eagles would have lost to the Commanders. I don't think so. I think a healthy Jalen Hurts, even though they're only throwing 183 yards per game, Jalen Hurts gives you that X factor, gives you that tush push, gives you that 3rd and short, 4th and short, right? Almost guaranteed plays every time. Almost every time it gives you a complete troll, right? Kai to the Kino, I don't know. He says the best defense stats wise are actually the Chargers and the Vikings, not the Eagles. Actually, I got it right here, Keto. First overall defense, 281.7, Philadelphia Eagles. Second in passing, 9th in rushing, 5th in scoring, 9th in red zone defense. The Philadelphia Eagles have the best defense, period. Use your eyes. They have the best defense. And Alpha Rob says the contenders the Eagles are. The Eagles are contenders. Alpha Rob, I like where your head's at, man. I like where your head is at. They are 100% contenders, 100% contenders. Josh Olson says, Darnold has always been underrated, but he's okay, we're talking about the Vikings again. The Lions offense is best at what are you watching this season? The Lions offense is second best. The Ravens is the best. And I said the Eagles is one of the best defense, right? One of the most balanced runs. 6th overall. 31st in passing, which sucks. But 1st in rushing, 8th in scoring, 13th in like red zone. The Eagles have one of the most balanced offenses in the NFL. That is what I said. Said if Kenny Pickett can't beat the Giants, the Eagles are not a good team. See, and this is where you're wrong. It is still a divisional game at the end of the day. Whether the Giants are good, bad, and indifferent, it is still a Week 18 divisional game. Every NFL team wants to end on a high note. It doesn't matter if you're 0-16 or 16-0 going into Week 18, right? It doesn't really matter. You want to end the season on a win. It makes off-season preparations a little bit more easier, right? Like, hey, we won, right? We won our last game. Let's go. And the Giants are sneakily a pretty good team, guys. They had a hell of a stretch there, right? They have quarterback issues. They have coaching issues. They've had a tough schedule, but their defense is pretty good. Let's just be honest. Their defense is pretty good in the New York Giants. Alpha Rob says if the Cowboys bring the same energy they did against Tampa Bay, they will beat the Eagles with Kenny Pickett. And Alpha Rob, you are exactly right. Now, I've been trolling the old interwebs, and I've been saying that the Dallas Cowboys are a playoff-bound team, right? And they are playing like a playoff team, right? They have won 4 of the last 5. They've beaten the Commanders. They've beaten the Giants. They lost to the Bengals, which is tough, but they've beaten the Panthers, and they beat the Bucks, right? It would not shock me one bit if they go into Philly with Kenny Pickett and they whoop that ass. That defense is stepping up. Now, CeeDee Lamb is out for the rest of the season. That might balance it out. If it's a defensive battle, give me the Eagles. But if it's an offensive shootout, give me the Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys. Josh says they are definitely still contenders, even with Kenny Pickett as a starting for the rest of the season and the playoffs. So, Josh, are you saying that the Philadelphia Eagles have a plug-and-play offensive system? It doesn't matter who your quarterback is, much like the San Francisco, right? San Francisco has a plug-and-play quarterback system, right? You can basically put any decent quarterback in there, and they're going to be successful. Are you saying the Philadelphia Eagles are the same way? Just turn around, give the ball off to Saquon, let him run? I mean, hell, you're already 31st in passing. You can't get much worse. I can see what you're saying. And Nacho wants to bring in some common sense. Wants to bring some logic here. He says they are pretenders because of their coach. Nick Sirianni is the biggest wild card. Like, let's just be honest, right? What hell was it like week 5 or week 6? He is out there yelling at fans, and now they're praising him. Like, I feel like this guy's bipolar. Let's just be honest. I feel like he's a little bit bipolar. You wake up on the wrong side of the bed and you don't know which Nick Sirianni you might get. Right? It is what it is. But if it was any other season, not Joe. If it was last season, I would agree with you 100%. But the fact that the Eagles went through their turmoil week 1 through 4, right? Fired the coach, Jalen Hurts sucks, whatever, yada yada yada. I think they've weathered the storm. They have weathered the A.J. Brown versus Jalen Hurts issue. They've gone through all that. So I don't think that they are pretenders. I think they're contenders. I think they can make it into the Super Bowl. Speaking of Super Bowl, the Buffalo Bills. They are the same contenders and pretenders here, guys. We got to up the ante a little bit for these teams here. We got to up them up and away. So, guys, can the Buffalo Bills make the AFC Championship game? That is what is going to determine if they are contenders or pretenders. It's AFC Championship game for the Buffalo Bills. They do have the playoffs locked up like most of these teams that we've been talking about. They can get high as 2nd seed and lowest as a 3rd seed if they do decide to lose out and the Ravens decide to win out. More than likely, they will be playing the Denver Broncos in the wild card matchup in the 2 versus 7 round. However, the Buffalo Bills are 2-3 versus playoff teams so far this season. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, they have one of the best defenses in the NFL, just much like the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, and the Baltimore Ravens. They are top-notch on the offensive side of the ball. Mr. Josh Allen, MVP himself, is 9th in passing with 233 yards per game. The Buffalo Bills do have the 7th overall offense averaging 366.5 yards per game, 9th in rushing at 135.5 yards per game, 2nd in scoring at a blistering rate of 31.3, and 2nd in red zone efficiency, scoring a touchdown at a rate of 69.4%. Wow. Basically, AKA, when you're in the 10-yard line and give Josh Allen the ball. That's what it comes down to. Give Josh Allen the ball. On the defensive side, though, things start to simmer down a little bit, right? They start to temper down. They had the 23rd ranked overall defense in the NFL, giving up 347.7 yards per game. 25th in passing, 22.9.5 yards per game. 14th in rushing, 118.3. 13th in scoring, giving up 27.1 points per game. And 18th in red zone defense, allowing opponents to score at a rate of 58.9%. Defense is questioning, right? When you look at the Buffalo Bills, one of the biggest question marks all season long has been the run-stopping ability on the defense. Now, when I looked at the stats, like 14th is not that bad. But when you go back and look at the tape, they do have problems stopping the run. They do have problems stopping the run. It is what it is. They have problems stopping the run and stopping 3rd downs. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I gotta know if it's a mindset. I don't know if it's a scheme. I just don't know. I'd have to go back and really study the film, but I think it's a little bit of scheme, right? It's just a little bit of will and a little bit of scheme. That's why their third down defense does suck. But they have won 9 of their last 10. Buffalo Bills are on cloud 9 right now, winning 9 of their last 10. They beat teams like the Seattle Seahawks, like the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Detroit Lions during that 9-game winning streak. However, they did lose to the Rams the week before they played the Detroit Lions on a short work week on Thursday Night Football. Josh Allen does have a broken hand. They have said he's been playing with it all season long, but now it's starting to become mainstream media news because they want you to give you a narrative of why the Buffalo Bills might lose in the playoffs. So, guys, let me ask you this question. Are the Buffalo Bills contenders or pretenders in the AFC playoffs? Can they make the AFC championship game? That is a contender or pretender caveat for them. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, guys, they are one of the healthiest teams in the NFL, though. When you look at their depth chart over at NFL.com or NFLtoday.co, they are one of the healthiest teams in the NFL. Very, very few IR people, very, very questionable, very, very, very doubtful defense players, right? If the Buffalo Bills guys do not make the AFC championship game this season, it'll be one of the biggest busts of all times. One of the biggest letdowns of all times. I do think that they can beat the Denver Broncos in the first round. Everything holds face. The Baltimore Ravens do come into town. Now, the Baltimore Ravens whooped that ass earlier this season. What was it, 41-10, right? They whooped that ass earlier this season. The Ravens were on cloud 9 when they played that game. Let's just be honest. And the Buffalo Bills were not. Two totally different teams now. Well, actually, the Ravens are about the same. The Ravens are starting to play really, really good football right now. But the Buffalo Bills are playing really, really good football right now. And honestly, it sucks that this game has to be a divisional matchup game. It sucks that the Bills and Ravens have to be the divisional matchup game. I would love to see that as the AFC championship game. Not going to lie. But I understand people saying Super Bowl or bust, Super Bowl or bust, Super Bowl or bust. The Ravens are the same way, Super Bowl or bust. And I don't know if the Buffalo Bills can go head-to-head with the Baltimore Ravens. I hope they do. I hope the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens. I don't want my Kansas City Chiefs to play the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game again. I don't want it. I'd rather play the Buffalo Bills. But with that being said, judging off of what I've seen the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, right? Since the Kansas City Chiefs game, the Buffalo Bills are one of the best teams in the NFL. I don't care about last week. It is a divisional game. Everything's locked up. It is what it is, right? Last week was just a fluke. Whatever. The Patriots played out of their mind. Buffalo Bills played a D game. The Patriots played an A game and still come out on top. It is what it is. But guys, the Buffalo Bills are true contenders. They are true contenders. They can make it to the AFC Championship game. I think I know they will beat the Denver Broncos. Now, if the Bengals make it, watch out, baby. Watch out, baby. If the Dolphins make it, slow it down. But I do think the Buffalo Bills are contenders. I do think they are contenders 100%. I do think they make the AFC Championship game. So what do you guys think? Are the Buffalo Bills, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Casey Morgan says Allen is playing good this year, but that defense is going to cost them. So Casey is saying pretenders. And I don't understand why the defense is going to cost them, because they got some pretty good names on that defense. Yes, Von Miller is like 40 years old, right? I get it. And he likes to beat up pregnant girls, right? I get it. But number 57, I forget his name, right defensive end for the Buffalo Bills, number 57. That guy's a dog. That guy is a dog. I wish their defense wasn't going to cost them, but Casey, I think you're right. I think their defense is going to cost them a trip to the Super Bowl, not to the AFC Championship game. Chippo says, go Vikings. Go Vikings. Go Vikings. Josh Olson says, yes, they are contenders and the second best team in the NFL right now. They are. They are. I think last week I had them at number 2 or number 3, right? So yes, Josh, I think we are right in line. I think we are top there, right? Chad Lundgren says, sorry, the brain damage from the car crash. It explains your horrible Vikings take. Okay. I don't think there's anything to joke about, Chad, but you do you, man. You do you. Tough behind the computer screen. Alpha Rob says their defense scheme gives up rushing and third downs are a problem because they play soft zone protecting the first down. Yes, I have noticed that they do play a lot of soft zone. I noticed it a lot when they played the Detroit Lions, right? In that fourth quarter, they were playing extra soft. Josh also says their defense always struggles against Derrick Henry, even when he played the Tennessee Titans. Correct. And I think with the Baltimore Ravens, you want to pick your poison, right? And honestly, if I am a defensive coordinator and like I was tasked to try to make a Ravens game plan, I would take Lamar Jackson out of the game and let Derrick Henry eat. Like if I could let one of those guys eat, I would rather let Derrick Henry eat, because Lamar Jackson, when he breaks a big play, it's back breaking, if that makes sense. Yes, obviously Derrick Henry is back breaking as well, but I would just rather let Derrick Henry eat than Lamar. Alpha Rob says contenders. It is Super Bowl or bust. And sorry, Alpha Rob, it's going to be bust. 3-peat pending, my man. 3-peat is pending. I'm kidding. Top fan Nacho Gomez says the Bills are contenders. They are the last team I want to play in the playoffs. You are correct, Nacho. They are a great team for 59 minutes and 47 seconds. Too soon? 13 seconds too soon? Alpha Rob says the Ravens needed that game more because they would have went 1-3. What game are you talking about? Alpha Rob says, you don't want the Bills, Buck. Jackson can't figure out Spags' defense. I do want the Bills. I do want the Bills to mark my revenge from the loss earlier this season. And Midget Mom 1336 says Skull Nation. All right, Skull. There's a lot of Vikings fans out there now all of a sudden. Imagine that. But guys, are the Buffalo Bills, are they contenders or pretenders? Can they make the AFC Championship game? Let's move on. Baltimore Ravens, contenders or pretenders? It's the same aspect with the Buffalo Bills. Can they make the AFC Championship game? As of right now, guys, the Baltimore Ravens are playing some of their best football to date. They have finally locked in their playoff spot, and as of right now, they're at the 3rd seed. If they continue their winning ways and the Pittsburgh Steelers continue their losing ways, they will all but lock up that 3rd overall seed. They can, however, jump up into the 2nd seed if they win out and the Buffalo Bills do lose one more game this season, but more than likely will probably be the 3rd seed. They are very, very battle-tested as well. The Baltimore Ravens are 6-3 versus playoff teams so far this season. So almost half of their games, actually over half of their games, have been against playoff teams so far this season. When you look at their offense, they have one of the best offenses in the NFL. Hands down, the offense has been non-stop, right? First overall offense, averaging 424.2 yards per game. 4th in passing, averaging 238.6 yards per game. 2nd in rushing, averaging 185.6 rushing yards per game. 3rd in scoring, scoring 30.2 points per game. And 1st in red zone scoring at a touchdown rate of 74.2%. That is mind-blowing, because when you look at the Buffalo Bills, they're at 68%, and then the Baltimore Ravens are damn near 8% better at damn near 75%. Their offense is nonstop. They're the most powerful offensive team I've seen in a very, very long time. Their defense has been their Achilles heel all season long. Let's just be flat out honest. But they are improving. Let's not get it twisted. They are improving. They are the 14th ranked overall offense as of right now, heading into week 17. They're giving up 370.1 yards per game, 29th in pass, ouch, giving up 248.5 yards per game. Well, first in rushing, only giving up 81.6, but that is skewed because they jump up such a early lead, and teams have to pass to catch up. But I digress. They're still first in rushing. 11th in scoring defense, only giving up 21.9 points per game, and 13th in red zone efficiency at 54.2%. Guys, the Baltimore Ravens are a team that's been hot, and they've been cold, and they've been hot, right? The Baltimore Ravens are a team that needed a bye week in a very, very bad way. Luckily for them, they got the last bye week of the season, and since then, they have been on a 3-game winning streak. They've beaten the Giants 34-14. They've beaten the Pittsburgh Steelers 34-17, and then we just saw them beat the Houston Texans 31-2. A smackdown of the Houston Texans. And they have won 4 of their last 5, including a win versus the Chargers on Monday Night Football, 30-23, and they turned around and they lost to the Eagles 24-19 before going on to their bye week. Since the bye week, though, the defense has been playing top-notch. They have only given up 17 points, most in those last 3 weeks. They've only given 185 yards passing versus Houston, 217 passing yards versus Pittsburgh, and 123 yards passing versus the New York Football Giants. So that 29th passing defense, yes, it's bad, but they've been pretty good the last 3 weeks. So, guys, are the Baltimore Ravens, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Can they make it to the AFC Championship game? And I think, guys, they are pretenders. I think they are pretenders. I don't think they may not even make it out of the first round, to be 100% honest. If the Pittsburgh Steelers continue their losing ways, we might see the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers play in the first round. And I don't think that the I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the playoffs. I just don't think so. I think the Baltimore Ravens are a good team. They can probably beat the Chargers. They can probably beat the Broncos. They can probably beat the Colts or Dolphins if they somehow slide them into the playoffs. But I do not see them beating the Buffalo Bills. I do not see them beating the Buffalo Bills at all in the divisional round. It is what it is. MVP man himself, Josh Allen, is just so much better than the rest of the Baltimore Ravens team. That defense would get exposed. I think the Baltimore Ravens are 100% pretenders, and they're not making the AFC Championship game. But guys, in the comments below, let me know. Do you think that the Baltimore Ravens, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Mr. McNugget says, protect the North, Skull Vikings. There's no North to protect. The Lions own the North, Mr. McNugget. Alpha Rob says, no, they will come to Buffalo. Jackson will do what he does best in the playoffs, and that is choke. And Alpha Rob, you are 100% correct. And my narrative the last 3 seasons is Lamar Jackson does choke, does not play his best football in the month of January. It is, right? And last year, they're like, oh, he made the AFC Championship game. He won 1 game. He won 1 game. Josh Allen has yet to win 2 games in the playoffs back-to-back. He has not done it. He probably won't do it. It's just the MO. The AFC is pretty loaded. Let's just be honest. With the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs, the Chargers and Broncos they're not ready to be slept on, but they're just not ready yet. The Ravens are pretenders, guys. They are pretenders. They're not beating the Buffalo Bills, and they're going to struggle in the first round, especially if they have to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. They probably won't, but if they do. Josh Olsen says they're definitely contenders and the power running team. And Josh, they are a power running team when they're up. When they're up 10, 12, 14, 15 points, they like to give the ball to Derrick Henry until the fourth quarter. They like to use and abuse Derrick Henry until the fourth quarter. In all of their losses so far this season, they've given the ball to Derrick Henry a total of 5 times in the fourth quarter. That is tough. Now, I know Coach Harbaugh is saying, oh, we don't want to use him up before the playoffs. We don't want to do this, and this, whatever. Stop it. Stop it. You paid the man, use him and abuse him. I made a Facebook post saying that Derrick Henry is single-handedly carrying the Baltimore Ravens, which he was back in the first quarter. Yes, Lamar Jackson took the game over in the second, third, and fourth quarter, but that first quarter was all Derrick Henry. Let's just be honest. Derrick Henry, I'm not saying he's going to get tired. I'm not saying there's a cliff, but Father Time is undefeated in running back realm. Matter of fact, Father Time is undefeated versus everybody. I'm not saying it's this season. I'm not saying it's next week. I'm not saying it is in the playoffs. But since Joe Flacco and Harbaugh's last Super Bowl, Harbaugh cannot get out of his way in the playoffs. That's just what it is. Their whole play calling changes in the playoffs. Last year versus the Kansas City Chiefs, they should have beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. No question about it. They should have beat the Kansas City Chiefs. But when you throw for 45 times in a game, you rush for 8, that is not a disaster. That is not a recipe to win games. And if you do that against the Buffalo Bills, you are going to lose the shootout. I am telling you, you're going to lose the shootout. You are 29th in pass defense. Josh Allen will cut that secondary up like sliced butter. He is going to get that butter knife hot. He's going to slice through the butter. Boom, boom, boom. It's going to be terrible to watch. Great if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. Terrible if you're anybody else's fan. Like man, I don't want to see Josh Allen do that. But Casey says they are pretenders. They don't have a postseason formula. 2-4. Yes, Lamar Jackson is 2-4 in the playoffs. Wrap your head around that, guys. The 2-time, potentially 3-time league MVP has 2 playoff wins. 2 playoff wins. It's simple as that. It's 2 playoff wins. And like Alpha Rob says, the Texans are done. I don't care who they play in the wild card. We'll talk about the Texans next. Josh says, you are trolling if you think the Ravens are pretenders. No, I'm just speaking the way I see it. I live in Louisville. I've seen Lamar Jackson play in cold. He doesn't like the cold. It is what it is. And Nacho says the Ravens are pretenders. I agree. Every year they make a quick exit and the playoffs. They can win 1 game. But that's about it. And Cade says the Steelers suck. Steelers are not playing good football right now. You are correct. Alpha Rob says teams are going to make Jackson beat them. Stop Henry and get the lead, and Jackson will do Jackson things. What you want to do is make Lamar Jackson nickel and dime you down the field. He gets tired of it, and it is what it is. Locally hated off-road says, not this year, babies. The Ravens aren't the same team. They are the same team. I don't care if you added Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, and the best offensive line in the league. You still have Lamar Jackson. You still have Harbaugh as your head coach. You still have the stigma of you cannot win 2 playoff games. It is what it is. And Anthony James says clickbait title. It was not a clickbait title. It was not. We talked about the Minnesota Vikings an hour and a half ago. So go clickbait somewhere else, Anthony. It is what it is. J599 says Packers fans going to be quiet when they lose on Sunday. Jefferson, Addison, Hawkins going to dice up y'all's secondary. I don't think the Packers really care there, bud. We already talked about the Vikings and Packers both times. Josh Olson says, but they didn't have Henry last season. That is the difference. No, it's not the difference. Derrick Henry is not the end-all, be-all. Yes, Derrick Henry is the reason why the Baltimore Ravens are a, 10-win team right now? Is that where they're at? 11 wins. I'm sorry. Derrick Henry is the reason why they're an 11-win team. But last season, they had a 3-headed monster in that backfield. Keaton Mitchell was a dog, right? Hell, they still had Gus Edwards. J.K. Dobbins may have been healthy in the playoffs. I don't remember. They cycle through running back so fast the last 2 seasons. I don't know who was in and who was out. But they were just fine. The reason why they lost was because Lamar Jackson threw it 46 times. That's just it. It's going to happen again against the Buffalo Bills, Josh. You are going to see the Buffalo Bills defense has the 25th pass ranked defense, right? Giving up 29.5 yards per game. Lamar Jackson's like, ha ha ha, let me eat. Like, no, not so fast. Not so fast. Alpha Rob says, Ravens fans have been talking this BS for years. Exactly. And Alpha Rob says, what's up with these Vikings fans? Listen, when your team wins, the fans come out of the work, baby. That's just the way it is. Now, if the Vikings were 7-10, it's Sam Darnold's fault. It says, bro, don't be hating on the Vikings. I'm not hating on the Vikings. I'm speaking facts. The facts are you played 4 good teams. It is what it is. Casey says, Henry won't be able to carry them into the playoffs. If he could, he would have a ring already before joining the Ravens. Yes and no, Casey. The Tennessee Titans, I believe the one year that they legitimately had a shot at going deep into the playoffs, they ran to the buzzsaw and the Kansas City Chiefs, right? The Titans were never really built to win a Super Bowl. Their defense wasn't great. They had Derrick Henry, a subpar offense, but let's just say that they weren't very good. Jay Fine 99 says, didn't LeBron say the races were going to the Super Bowl? The Ravens, I don't know. I don't follow LeBron James. I don't follow NBA at all. Freddie Edis says, let's shut up. Who's your favorite team? My favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think that matters who your favorite team is. The facts are that the Vikings are overrated. The Vikings are Fugazi. Look at Lamar's stats from last season to this year. He's breaking records. Nobody thought he could be broken. Lamar is not the same this season. Listen, stats lie to you. It's simple as that. I don't care if Lamar Jackson's putting up 500 yards per game. It doesn't matter. What matters is January and February. What matters is Lamar Jackson and Coach Harbaugh and the rest of the Baltimore Ravens cannot win back-to-back playoff games since their Super Bowl run. It's simple as that. We saw it last year. Everything was in place for them to make it to the Super Bowl. Home field advantage. The Kansas City Chiefs receiving corps sucked. The defense was playing lights out, right? Let's not get that twisted. And you were playing good football. Championship game, you change everything that you do. That is Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh shitting the bed. It is what it is. The facts are facts. The facts are the facts. Alpha Rob says Jackson is the same as last season. Couldn't break Kansas City last year or this year. Exactly. Max says overrated how, especially with expectations. Lamar Jackson is overrated. Lamar Jackson is overrated because you fans, Max, Lamar, NFL 8, Freddie Edits, you guys put Lamar Jackson up on this pedestal, and he can't consistently reach that pedestal, right? And it gets even better because when Lamar Jackson wins, it's all Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson did this, and this. He's the greatest thing ever. But when he loses, my man Wayne G says it best. Oh, he doesn't have a number one receiver. The running game sucked. Coaching is the issue. The defense is 28th in the NFL. It's always excuses. That is why people hate the Baltimore Ravens. Hell, that is why the people hate the Minnesota Vikings. Hell, that is the reason why people hate a lot of other teams in the NFL, because when your team loses, you have excuse. Not just like, hey, maybe we just suck today. Maybe, just maybe, we did not play our best football today. When the Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Buffalo Bills, I came out here and I said it. The Buffalo Bills outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs from start to finish. They dominated them. When have you ever heard a Baltimore Ravens fan say that? Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs just outplayed us. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers just outplayed us. You don't. You have excuses. Oh, we don't have a number one receiver. King Henry was hurt. The defense sucks, whatever. It's excuses. Just stop it. Lamar, NFL 8, and it says, of course, because you're saying that, because the Vikings are not good because you're a Chiefs fan. My fandom has nothing to do with my opinion. My fandom has nothing to do with my opinion. I'm the most unbiased. I've actually been down on the Kansas City Chiefs all season long. My fandom has nothing to do with it. And Freddie Edis says the Chiefs are blanking the rest. Here we go. Here we go. We've been waiting for this, Freddie Edis. Let's give this man a round of applause. The Kansas City Chiefs are winning because of the referees. Here, let me put that screen up there for you. The referees called the wrong play. Mahomes did this incomplete pass. He passed the line of scrimmage. See that? Clearly behind the line of scrimmage there, Freddie Edits. Come on, man. You're better than that. Not overrated at all. He is overrated. Oh, the Chiefs are overrated. How are the Chiefs overrated? They've been dominated one game this season. They lost that one game this season. Hopefully, we can get revenge of that in the AFC Championship game. Just saying. Casey Morgan says, every AFC team knows how to beat the Ravens in the playoffs. Take out the run, force Lamar to pass. Actually, Casey, let me take you one step further. Take away the run, yes. Force Lamar to pass, yes. Force Lamar to nickel and dime it down the field because he can't throw medium passes accurately repetitively. Until next time, said the Ravens lost to the Raiders this season. You are right. You are right. It says, "Oh, you're a Taylor Swift fan." I like a little bit of Tay-Tay. I'm not for sure what that has to have to do with anything. And Alpha Rob says, another excuse: Tucker missing field goals. There you go. It's Justin Tucker's fault that we lost those games, right? Josh Olson says, what do you think what will you say if the Ravens make it to the Super Bowl this season? Some of you will have to eat your words. I'm just saying. If the Ravens make the Super Bowl this season, they finally got over that hump. Lamar Jackson finally stopped pissing down his leg during the postseason. Coach Harbaugh finally stuck with what has been successful in the regular season. And the Chiefs win because of Taylor Swift. Oh, here we go. And Freddie says, you look like an off-brand Travis Kelce. Okay. Whatever. But guys, are the Baltimore Ravens, are they contenders or are they pretenders? AFC Championship game, I am saying they are pretenders. They are not going to make the AFC Championship game this season. Next up, we have the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans guys do have the fourth seed all but locked up, and they will be playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens in the first round. They have lost two of their last three, losing the Kansas City Chiefs 27-19, and they lost to the Ravens on Christmas Day 31-2. They did lose Tank Dell to the Kansas City Chiefs of season-ending IR. So far this season versus playoff teams, the Houston Texans guys are 1-5. They do play the Tennessee Titans to end the season on January 5th to end the season. So guys, are the Houston Texans, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Not AFC Championship game pretenders or contenders, but just a playoff game contender. Can they win their opening wild card game? Are the Houston Texans contenders or pretenders? When you look at their offense, right now, they're the 21st ranked offense in the NFL. It's only averaging 316.3 yards per game. They're 19th in passing, 209.9 passing yards per game, 23rd in rushing with 106.4, 17th in scoring, they are 21 points per game, ouch, and 26th in red zone scoring at a touchdown rate of 50.9%. Their defense is a little bit better. Their defense does kind of live up to the little bit of hype, right? They're 8th overall in defense, only giving up 315.1 yards per game. They're 6th in passing, giving up 199.3 yards per game, 12th in rushing at 115.8, 14th in scoring at 22.4. But when teams get into the red zone versus the Texans, they are scoring at a 66.7% rate, and that is 30th in the NFL. When you look at the Houston Texans, guys, they started off hot. They were one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They started off 6-2. They had some big wins, right? But since then, they've been 4-5. They're 4-5 since their 6-2 start. Yes, they lost Stephon Diggs. Yes, they lost Tank Dell to the two of their top receivers. Stephon Diggs is a huge loss, right? But the key part is their offensive line is just bad. Their offensive line is the worst in the NFL. Actually, they're ranked 31st in the NFL, second to worst. They have a sack rate of 11.6 sack rate, and they have a passer pressure success rate of 4 pass pressures or less at a 35%. So when a defense rushes four players, 4 versus 5, 35% of the time they're getting pressure on CJ Stroud. Offensive line is just terrible. So guys, are they contenders or pretenders? The Houston Texans are 100% pretenders, guys. There is no logical thing in my head saying that they can beat the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens in the first round. I've said it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/manhour. If you guys are not following us over there, you should, right? We are on pace to 26,000 by the end of the season. Let's get it, by the end of the year. Let's get it. Help me get it. I said it on our Facebook page, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers is better to lose out to play the Houston Texans than to try to win the division. The Houston Texans guys are terrible. They are 4-5 in their last 9 games. They are terrible. They're not very good. They're fugazi. They're not very good. But guys, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Until next time, said the Chiefs are pretenders. We'll talk about the Chiefs later. The Fiend says the Texans are going on a run until they run into the Chiefs eventually. So they could run into the Chiefs in the divisional round. So the Fiend is saying that they are contenders. They can win a wild card game. So this for the Texans would make them contenders, right? Make them contenders. Casey says the Texans are too injured and are on a DOA. They are pretenders. Do not reassess it. Ted on arrival. Ugh. It's tough. Josh says they're fugazi. They are. Get your guys' fugazi merch. manhourradio.com. Check it out. Until next time, says when you have to win on the last drive of every game, what happens when you play a good team that can put up points in the playoff? Are you talking about the Kansas City Chiefs? The Kansas City Chiefs have played a lot of playoff teams, and they've beaten all those playoff teams except for one. But whatever. Put the yaw emoji if you hit the Chiefs. Whatever. Alpha Rob says the Texans are pretenders and CJ Stroud is overrated. So CJ Stroud definitely outperformed his rookie season. Nobody thought the Texans were going to be as good as they were CJ Stroud's rookie year, right? This year, CJ Stroud has been under distress. I think he's been sacked 65 times so far this season, second in the NFL. The offensive line is terrible, Alpha Rob. They did not address the offensive line issues this offseason. They did not address it before the trade deadline, and they made a mistake. The whole Houston Texans organization has let down CJ Stroud by letting him by not upping up that offensive line. Until next time, says Tay Junior, making fun of my stutter. That's cool, man. That's cool. Until next time. Alpha Rob says the Texans were struggling before Dell got hurt. You are correct, Alpha Rob. Tank Dell loss does suck, but the loss of Stephon Diggs was the biggest loss that the Houston Texans could have had, and they never could, and they never recovered from it. On the bright side, they did sign Deontay Johnson Monday, so he might play this weekend. I'm not for sure. We'll see what happens. See if he can pick up some Tank Dell slack or maybe even Stephon Diggs slack. I don't know. We'll see. Max says, I don't think they were contenders in the first place. I think the expectations were misplaced since they were still trying to rebuild around CJ. And you are exactly right, Max. I think the Houston Texans actually stunted their growth by the success from last season. Because when you have success, when you win, you have blinders on going into the offseason, right? Just like Brian Daboll and the New York Giants. His first season, everybody said it was a rebuild. They made it to the playoffs. Did they win that playoff game versus the Vikings? Can't remember. But either way, it started their growth, and now look where they're at. And just like the Washington Commanders this season, right? I think they are this year's or would be 2020 New York Giants. I think the Commanders will be misguided this offseason as well. Nacho says the Houston Texans are pretenders. Who plays them in the playoffs is likely getting a bye. It's more than likely going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers at this rate. Looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers will be playing the Houston Texans. Freddie Edit says, who is the best quarterback? That's Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL, hands down, right now. This season, Josh Allen. Max says the Commanders should take notes and avoid the mistakes of the Texans. This is the problem with the Commanders, Max. I don't want to get too deep into the Commanders because I haven't done a lot of research on them. I will have to do that more for tomorrow for contenders and pretenders for the NFC side of like things here. But the Commanders are an old team. They built their defense around a lot of veterans, right? Those veterans are getting ready to retire this year and a little bit of next season, right? And when that defense retires, they're going to retire in bunches. There are going to be a complete rebuild yet again on the defensive side of things. And by the way the defense is playing right now, that offense is like, hey, we need a little bit more offensive weapons. We need a receiver. We need a little bit of line. They really need to be focused on the defense. But I'm just saying it is what it is. Alpha Rob says Josh Allen is the common sense. And finally, Freddie Edit says, finally, you're right. I mean, I'm always right. But Houston Texans, contenders or pretenders? I am saying pretenders, and I think the majority of people are saying pretenders as well. Nobody has faith in the Houston Texans as of right now. Moving on. The Pittsburgh Steelers. This is a team that's been kind of head scratching as of late, right? About 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, I said it would not shock me one bit if they made it to the Super Bowl. It would not shock me one bit if we had an all Pennsylvania Super Bowl. Philadelphia Eagles take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. But since then, Steelers have been kind of treading water. They've been on this ship. They've been trying to shovel off the water, and it just keeps going down again. Right? They are currently 5th seed in the AFC playoffs right now, and they would be playing the Houston Texans. They have lost 3 games in a row. A loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, 27-13. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens, 34-17, and then they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas Day, 29-10. Of course, that was the 3 games in 11 days, and all 3 of those losses were against playoff teams. However, their last game of the season is on January 5th versus the Cincinnati Bengals, and they did beat the Cincinnati Bengals earlier this season, 44-38. That was a very, very shocking game in my eyes. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense totally just forgot to show up, I think, right? Versus playoff teams so far this season, guys, they are 5-3 versus playoff teams so far this season. So, guys, are the Pittsburgh Steelers, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Can they win their first round game, whether it be versus the Houston Texans or they win the division, the AFC North, and they play the Denver Broncos? Can they win that first game? When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, they're ranked 18th total offense. They're averaging 327.3 yards per game. They're 25th in passing at 196.6 yards per game, 10th in rushing at 130.8 yards per game, 13th in scoring, which is kind of shocking to me, actually, but 22.7. But their red zone offense is terrible. Terrible red zone offense, ranked 31st in the NFL, scoring at a rate of 46.3%. Their defense is their bread and butter, is the X factor. But their defense as of right now has not been playing that great. They have the 11th ranked overall defense, giving up 327.5 yards per game. They're 24th in passing on the defensive side of things, giving up 226.9 yards per game. 6th in rush defense, giving up just over 100 yards per game. 8th in scoring, giving up only 20.5 points per game. And 16th in red zone defense, allowing teams to score at a rate of 56.1%. So, guys, are the Pittsburgh Steelers, are they contenders or pretenders going into a wild card game? And I do have to say that the Pittsburgh Steelers, despite their recent struggles, despite losing 3 games in a row, despite having one of the toughest back ends of the schedule in the NFL, despite losing to non-playoff teams like the Cleveland Browns, they are still a contender. They are still 10-6. They are still in one of the toughest divisions in football in the AFC North. Yes, I know all 4 teams are not making the playoffs, but the Bengals and Browns are still pretty good teams. Hell, the Bengals could still make the playoffs. Let's not get it twisted. Guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers are contenders. They can beat the Broncos. They can beat the Chargers. They can beat the Houston Texans. They can beat the Baltimore Ravens. Hell, they could even beat the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. It is what it is. Hell, I said this earlier, and I'm going to stand by it again. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, the only team I'm afraid of in the playoffs are the Pittsburgh Steelers. Guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers are a contenders. They can wait. They can beat the Houston Texans. I think everybody agrees with that. If it comes down to Houston Texans versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, a lot of us are taking the Pittsburgh Steelers in that particular game. But let's move on. Let's move. Let's think of the divisional round. Could they beat the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium? And truth be told, as a Chiefs fan, I am scared of the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is what it is. Because yes, that offense is terrible. 25th in passing, 18th overall. But that offense gets a little bit of juice in them, right? Just plays just a little bit better. And that defense continues to do what they know how to do. Not what they've done the last few games, but what they know how to do. They can shut down a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. I understand playoff Kansas City Chiefs are a different breed. Do not get that twisted. But I'm saying the Pittsburgh Steelers guys are contenders. I am saying that they are contenders. But what do you guys think? In the comments below, are the Pittsburgh Steelers, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Can they win a wild card game? Casey Morgan says, if the Steelers play like they did on Christmas Day, they are a first round exit, even if they're playing the Texans. So Casey's saying pretenders. Freddie Edit says, let's go Vikings. Josh says they're not even a top 10 team right now. They are not. They are playing the worst football of the NFL season as of right now. Josh, you are 100% correct. But maybe this is all by design. Maybe this is all by design. Maybe they want that fifth seed. Hell, maybe they want that 6th seed. Maybe they want to play the Ravens or the Texans in the first round. I said it on our Facebook. If I was the Pittsburgh Steelers, I would be taking for the 5th seed. I want to play the Houston Texans. I want to play the Houston Texans. And Alfarad says they are contenders. They will win their wild card game. And I agree with you on that. Max says they cannot move the ball when needed. Their front 4 defense can't hold against the playoff caliber teams when they can't score. I believe Wilson won't take the team to the conference. And this is the downside of the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Because George Pickens has been out. George Pickens did not play against the Philadelphia Eagles. George Pickens did not play against the Ravens, right? George Pickens had flashes of greatness versus the Kansas City Chiefs. George Pickens is that X factor on the offense. The reason why the offense has been struggling the last 3 weeks is because George Pickens hasn't been 100%. He played the Kansas City Chiefs game, and I would say he's probably only 70%. And he still kind of, as much as I love my Kansas City Chiefs, McDuffie kind of got schooled by George Pickens a little bit. Let's just be honest. He kind of got schooled a little bit. Now George Pickens has, 11 days off before they play the Cincinnati Bengals? And then they have another 7 days off to play the Houston Texans. Look out, baby. Look out. Alpha Rob says Russ can't go toe-to-toe with Mahomes and Allen. And you are correct, Alpha Rob. Russell Wilson cannot go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or hell, even C.J. Stroud. Maybe not even Bo Nix. Let's just be honest. However, he doesn't have to, because the one thing good about the Pittsburgh Steelers is Russell Wilson is there just not to lose them games. He is there to manage them. They want to run the ball and they want to play defense. They want to nickel and dime it down the field. They want to make you have 2, 3, 4 less possessions in a game. And that is what ultimately makes the Steelers a dangerous team, makes them contenders. Is because Mike Tomlin knows their team. Knows his team, and they know how to win this season. Nacho says the Steelers are pretenders. A contender doesn't lose 3 games in a row by more than 2 touchdowns. And Nacho, I would agree with you if it wasn't versus playoff teams like the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs. All teams that could be Super Bowl caliber teams, Super Bowl bound teams. All 3 of those teams are Super Bowl bound teams. They can go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. All 3 of those teams can. Also, George Pickens was out. That is tough. You have to take that into accountability, right? Casey says, do agree the Steelers are a dark horse. And so let me preface this by saying that it would not shock me one bit, guys, if they get beat by the Houston Texans. I will be picking them over the Houston Texans, and I'm going to still continue that if they play in the first round. But it would not shock me one bit if they do drop that game. I'm just saying. They are the highest ceiling and the lowest floor of every team in the playoffs. Lowest floor meaning that any team can beat them. Highest ceiling meaning that they can beat any team. It is tough. And Freddie says the Vikings are winning the Super Bowl. The Vikings are not winning their first game. All right, guys, so let's move on. Let's move on to some teams that have not locked up their playoff spots. Let's move on to some teams that are still kind of fighting for the playoff lives as of right now. And the first one we're going to talk about is the LA Chargers. The LA Chargers can win on Sunday versus the Patriots. They do get into the playoffs or beat the Raiders come week 18. Both of them are road games, but if they win, they are in. They can also get in, or they can also lock up their playoff spot if the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals all lose week 17 or week 18, or a combination of both. They do have an 83% chance to make the playoffs if they lose to the Patriots still. So pretty much they are into the playoffs. So far this season, the Chargers are 3-4 versus playoff-bound teams. They did play the Ravens so far this season, and they got beat 32-23 on Monday Night Football. So, guys, when you look at the LA Chargers, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Can they not only make the playoffs, but can they win a wild card game? The Chargers, guys, are one of the worst offensive teams in this playoff race. Let's just be honest. They're 24th overall on offense, averaging 307.3 yards per game. They're 24th in offensive passing, only passing the ball for 200.8 yards per game. 22nd in rushing, 106.5 yards per game. However, they are 15th in scoring at 21.9, and they're 14th in red zone offense at scoring at a rate of 57.5%. On the defense, this has been, quote, their bread and butter, right? They're the 17th overall ranked defense. I believe somebody said earlier they were the best defense. No, they're the 17th overall ranked defense. 17th in passing, 213.8 yards per game. 18th in rushing, 124.1. They are the second ranked scoring defense, only giving up 18.3 points per game. And they are the first red zone defense as well, giving up, or teams are only scoring at a 44.7 rate against them, right? So when you look at the LA Chargers, guys, they have lost 3 of their last 5 games after winning 4 games in a row. Their 3 losses are to the Ravens, 30-20 and 23 that we just talked about. They lost to the Chiefs 19-17, and then they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just last week 42-17. All of their wins this season have came when they held teams under 16 points, minus the Broncos when they scored 27 just last week. So, guys, when we look at the LA Chargers, are they contenders or are they pretenders? Guys, the Chargers are 100% pretenders. They are 100% pretenders. They play the Patriots and the Raiders both on the road these next 2 weeks, week 17 and week 18. All they've had to do the last 4 weeks is just win one game, and they secure the playoff spot. They haven't been able to do it. They lack a running game. Their running backs are terrible. Justin Herbert, he is a game manager. Let's just be honest. Justin Herbert is a game manager. I understand you guys want to put him up on this Patrick Mahomes 2.0 type of pedestal, right? He is great when he's able to manage games. when he's able to nickel and dime it down the field, use his legs when he has to or when he wants to, and let the defense win games. And right now, they're not doing that. They are pretenders. They may not even make the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game versus, as of right now, would be the Baltimore Ravens. Just not going to happen. Just not going to happen. So what do you guys think? Casey says, what's up with all the angry Vikings fans tonight? Someone give them a Snickers bar. Max says, Steelers should hold Russ to get a few more yards out of him. Draft a QB to bridge. They got Justin Fields, though. You don't need to draft a quarterback. Nacho Gomez says the Chargers are pretenders. The Chargers are the biggest frauds in the NFL. I would agree with you until we raise you with the Denver Broncos. Casey says the Chargers are going to do what they do. Choke. They are pretenders. Alpha Rob says they're pretenders. The Chargers cannot score enough. Which, Alpha Rob, they are 15th in scoring. They average 21.9 points per game. I was actually kind of shocked by that when I saw that. I was like, oh, okay, wow. Josh Olson says, I think they will win in the first round of the playoffs, but that is it. So Josh is saying that they're going to go into Baltimore and beat the Baltimore Ravens in round 1. Ooh, Josh, slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Because you just said that the Baltimore Ravens were a Super Bowl bound team. And now you're saying that the LA Chargers are going to come into Baltimore and whoop that ass. Woo, slow it down. Slow it down. I want to talk to Samson. Says, so bad they are tied for the best record in the NFC and beating the countless. Oh, all you Vikings fans are coming out of the woodwork, aren't you? But guys, are the LA Chargers, are they contenders or are they pretenders? That is the question. That is the question. That is the question. But guys, we are up on our time limit tonight. That is a fresh 2-hour show today, guys. Join us tomorrow at 9 p.m. East Coast time. We will continue our contender or pretender talk. We still got the Broncos to talk about. We got the Colts to talk about. We got the Dolphins, and then we got of course, the Bengals. Right? They are all on pace to make it to the playoffs. So we'll talk about that. And of course, we got our NFL Pick'ems Week 17 on Saturday tonight as well. 9 p.m. East Coast time. We got Mark and Hoffy. The Toxic crew is here. And Josh says, no, the LA Chargers will play Pittsburgh in round 1. So Josh is saying that the Baltimore Ravens are not going to win the AFC North. They're going to lose either this, or so the Baltimore Ravens would have to lose to the Browns next week, January 5th. And the Pittsburgh Steelers got to win out. All right, Josh. All right. Pepe's in the chat says Chargers are not contenders, cursed by injuries forever and ever and ever. All right, Josh. Josh. Let's have a conversation here, buddy. Okay? Let's have a conversation here. So you think that the Baltimore Ravens are winning the division? They are winning the division and winning the 3rd seed. So therefore, the 3rd seed, Josh, would have to play the 6th seed. As of right now, the 6th seed is the LA Chargers. So the LA Chargers would have to go into Baltimore and play the Ravens. And then you said up here that the Chargers will win their first round game. You also said that the Baltimore Ravens were a Super Bowl bound team. So if you look at the playoff picture as of right now, the Chargers are the 6th seed, and they would have to play the Baltimore Ravens. If I remember correctly, the Chargers cannot get higher than the 6th seed. They can drop down to the 7th seed, and then they would have to play the Buffalo Bills in the first round. So, if the Ravens are winning that division, they would more than likely play the Chargers in the first round. So you're telling me that the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl and the Chargers are winning the first round game. That can't happen. And the Chargers cannot play the Pittsburgh Steelers unless the Pittsburgh Steelers win the division. So let's just make sure that we're all on the same page here. Jared said Vikings stuff is going to run through Evan Pace back Green Bay getting swept. It doesn't matter. Vikings are still a first round loss, Jared. It doesn't matter. Pepe says, how can you bolt up when you have no nuts? Not wrong. Not wrong. But guys, that's going to be it tonight. We are getting cut off on the radio right here, but there's 2 hours of live, raw, uncut NFL talk. Be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. East Coast time. We'll continue our contender and pretender talk. And then, of course, our Week 17 NFL pick'ems. Until then, guys, we are out.